Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in for this wonderful review of My Sister, the Serial Killer by Oyinkan Brothwhite. Okay, I hope I didn't do that too bad. She's a beautiful Nigerian author, and I'm probably supposed to make my tongue roll a little bit on one of them syllables or vowels, but nevertheless, forgive me, okay? We give grace on this channel. If you have not already done so, please click that subscribe button so that you can get the latest reviews that's coming out. We review all books on this channel. If they're hot and they're being talked about, we're going to review it, all right? So let's get into it with this review. My Sister the Serial Killer is about two sisters. The main character name is Korede and her beautiful sister is named Ayola. And I did say beautiful for her because that's exactly what she is. This book describes her as the diva of all divas, okay? She the shit, she's beautiful, she knows it, she owns it, and there's nothing else to say about that, right? The only bad thing about her is she murders her boyfriends. That's right. We step into the beginning of the story with Ayola giving Korede another phone call with, "I did it again. I need your help." Korede's the super loyal sister. She's a nurse, doesn't really have a love life, but she loves her sister. She's super bonded to her, and she goes and helps her whenever she calls. So she gets to the murder scene and she's like, "What happened? Why are you doing this again?" And Ayola simply says that, he tried to hurt me and I had to do it. This is the third boyfriend again that she has to do this to. Korede's questioning her like, "What's going on? What's going on?" Ayola is just very evasive. She deflects. She doesn't give a real answer. That's it, right? So Korede has a little case of OCD, so she cleans up this place spotless as she always has done, and they dispose of the body. They move on. The police kind of find out the victim's family is not letting this kill go easily. He's all over social media, hashtag Femi is missing, where he at, and so eventually some clues lead them to the sisters and they're able to evade the police, right? But that's not the biggest problem. The problem comes in because Ayola makes a visit to Korede's workplace, right? And Korede and her sister, like, it's a love-hate relationship. Korede's super loyal, but she kind of got some issues with her sister. So Ayola comes to the workplace trying to kind of, just be nice to her sister so they could go have a lunch date. And while she's there, she catches the attention of a doctor. His name is Dr. Tade. And Dr. Tate immediately, like every other man, he flaunts over her. He loves her. He wants to date her. Korede doesn't like this because she has had a crush on Dr. Tate for forever. She just never had the courage to let him know. Ayola asks her, "Do you have a crush on this guy? Like, what's going on?" Because Korede keeps trying to not get them to date each other. And Korede lies and she tells her, "No, I just don't think you need to be dating now. You need to kind of get to the bottom of why you be killing all these men." And so the sister, kind of played a victim role, like, "Oh my God, you don't believe me. Like, I keep telling you this." But again, after the murder, she's on social media. She's posting. She's going on about her life like nothing. So, with that being said, eventually all of her attempts to try to keep them separated fall dumb, fall dead. And Dr. Tate makes his advance to Ayola. She accepts and they begin dating. She wows him and now he wants to marry her. So Korede, she has a dilemma. Do I tell on my sister and tell this Dr. Tay that this girl is a murderer and possibly put her ass in jail for the rest of her life? Or do I keep my mouth shut and allow the guy who I am secretly in love with to be murdered? Because there's no doubt in her mind that he's going to be murdered. And Ayola wastes no time. 1, 2, 3 months max. That's it. She chopping their necks off, stabbing them in her heart. She loves stabbing. That's her. The knife is her weapon of choice. So yeah, so that's what happens. That's about all I'm gonna tell you because you know me. I cannot tell you guys how the story ends because if I do, what would be the purpose in you reading it? And we don't want to take that away from you, right? So what I loved about this book was I love the family dynamics that it talked about. It dives really deep into like the sibling rivalry kind of relationships, parental favoritism relationships. I loved how it talked about the culture. It exposed you to culture. Like I read books to travel in my mind, take me to another place. And this book did that because I'm not from Nigeria, but one of my very close friends she's married to a Nigerian man, and when they was dating and she would go visit him, she would come back and tell me all these stories. And this book talks about so many of the political or environmental and just cultural issues and dynamics that she would come back and share with me. So I know that it's being very authentic to that, and I loved having that teaching moment creatively done in the writing. So that's something I liked about it. I love in my mind, like if I wasn't what I was doing professionally, I think if I could do what I want to, I would be like a psychological thriller, crime mind, understanding why criminals do what they do, right? And this book tried to examine and explore the sister. You know, she never really got an answer about why she did it, but the author did give you enough character background to allow you to maybe draw your own conclusions. I would have preferred a more definite answer, but nevertheless, I guess you don't really have to tell anybody why you want to kill somebody. Serial killers don't really have the greatest mindset, so I guess the author kept it like that. I also enjoyed that the character Korede, she kind of makes like an unlikely alliance with someone in the book that you wouldn't really think that she would have an allegiance with, and I like that. I like when people could form bonds with people that are not really one that you would really think. It didn't give me the action suspense thriller that I was looking for. The plot was pretty open from the beginning. My sister's a serial killer. I help her. She doesn't tell me why, and I just kind of come to her rescue for it. And so there was no suspense or no fast paced what's going to happen next to it. It seems more like a family dynamic kind of book, and I like that. Not what I was expecting when you think of a title, My Sister the Serial Killer. I thought we was going to really get into her mind, but nevertheless, it's written from Korede's point of view, and you can't get nothing if a person ain't telling you why they doing what they doing. So that is what it is. What else did I like? My printer wouldn't print my paper, so I don't have it right now. Yeah, that's what I liked. Now the cons, what I did not like. I did not like, it was a bunch of nameless characters in the book. Not nameless characters. There was a bunch of names for characters that wasn't necessarily important. I didn't think we needed to have all those characters' names, because when I read a name, I think that they're important to the storyline. I try to take a mental note of it for when they make an appearance for later on in the book. And in this book, it didn't happen. It felt kind of weird because one of the characters in the book, a sideline character, she's a house girl, like a housemaid, and all we know her as is the house girl. But there are scenes when someone is mopping the floor in a hospital who he's not as relevant as a character as the house girl, and he has a name. A passing of someone visiting a patient in a hospital has a name. The receptionist at the hospital has a name. We're just giving so many names for one appearance that I just didn't need it. And you could call me picky or whatever, but I didn't like having all the names to remember. I also didn't like the book. It started out really, really good. It catches you from the first opening page, but after that very first chapter, it kind of fell flat for like the next 3 or 4 chapters, and I had to force myself to keep reading it, and eventually it picked up, and I was happy it did, because that's when it got into those family dynamics, and I love learning about the human mind, human behaviors, how we interact with people as human beings, and I enjoyed that part. So I'm glad I did get to finish the book, but it was a struggle for me to get past maybe from chapter 2 to 6 or 7, because it just was, I don't even know what it talked about. Honestly, it was just page filler to me. I would have liked it to be a little bit more consistent with the pacing and the energy. Also, sometimes the way the chapter end, it just felt not really important or not relevant to the storyline. I didn't get it. If it sounds confusing as I'm saying it, that's exactly how I felt reading it. Like, what purpose did this serve to the story or to the plot? Like, I didn't get it, so I didn't like that. With that being said, I try to keep an open mind. Again, this book, the setting is in Lagos, Nigeria. The author is from Lagos, Nigeria. So I don't know if this is maybe a cultural understanding to where I don't understand those parts and why they kind of played in the way they did. But for me as a reader, it didn't really make the connection. Another thing I didn't like when I was reviewing this book, because I try to review all books, you know, to see if this is a book I want to read. A lot of people were saying that it was like a comical, very witty type of suspense thriller horror story. And I didn't find nothing funny about the book. That's not a bad thing because it wasn't a bad book, but I didn't find sentences that made me laugh. I didn't see the humor or the funniness between the characters. Like it felt like a very serious book to me, and I did not get the humor. So I was a bit kind of baffled and confused on that. Yeah, that's it. That's the book. If you like reading about family dynamics, I would say pick it up. If you want to get a little peek into the Nigerian culture, I would say pick it up. If you want to get a little peep into who we are as human beings, something I did forget in the prose is I like that this book talked about a lot of things that we do right now that's considered a social norm that really have negative side effects, like overindulging in social media, doing bad things or right things at the wrong time, how we judge people based on their appearance. You know, oftentimes the more attractive you are to someone, the better they treat you, or they give you like they always give you the benefit of the doubt, versus if you're not as attractive to them, they may treat you differently, and you know that's not cool. So I did really like that part of the book. It started the conversations, and it made me think about things and how you go about in day to day. And I love when an author can do that. I love when they could take real life things, real life topics, and put them so good into the book that it starts your mind thinking about reality and not necessarily just the book itself. So with that said, my rating for this book will be 3.25. And I have to give it the 3.25 because, again, just that pacing, the up and down, where it will have my interest and it will lose my interest. I want to be hooked from the beginning to the end, and sometimes I had to force my way through it. I also didn't like that I was left with answers, and not that it feels like there was a book number 2 coming out. I just never got the answer that I was looking for, that I was hoping to get, about maybe why this girl is doing what she does. And maybe it was all intents and purposes, again, because I mean, serial killers don't think right. So the character, the person who's telling us this story, never gets the answer. So how the hell can we get it? But I wanted a damn answer. Yeah, that was it. What else? What didn't I like? Yeah, just that. Just a bunch of kind of rambling places that I was not able to make the connection with, and how it related to the storyline. Okay, so there it is. There's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, become a part of this community. Leave a comment below if you want me to read a book and leave a review on a book that you're interested in reading, and you want to hear my feedback before you go ahead and buy it. Send me an email. Also, you could leave a comment, email me. The email is thebookkeepersreview@gmail.com. All right. Until next time, keep reading.